Hey guys, Michael here from michaelsherlock.com with HD video at youtube.com/therevived1. There's a lot of speculation as what's going to happen on the January 27th Apple Media event. For all that coverage, by the way, on the day, check out my YouTube channel and we'll have a lot of content for you with most likely a synopsis of what's happening. But there's been speculation that we're going to see the new operating system for the iPhone OS 4.0. Now, while I doubt that, I think this was a pretty good time prior to the event just to give you my thoughts and expectations for iPhone operating system 4.0 whenever that does launch. So let's get started. The first thing we definitely need is some more customization options. The lock screen needs to be customized on unjailbroken devices. I personally jailbroke my device, and this was one of the reasons why. The lock screen was utterly useless under Apple standard firmware. There's no reason why all that space needs to be wasted. I'm using the Grappled Lock Info theme, and I get a lot of content right on the lock screen. I get my weather, I get new emails, I get my calendar entries, I get new SMSs, I get missed messages, a calendar, I think I already said that, but there's a lot of great content available. And it doesn't work 100%, but if Apple integrated this directly into their operating system, I can only imagine how customizable and wonderful it would be. So customizable lock screens is really important. They also need to allow the home screens to be improved. From the first version of the iPhone operating system, the home screen and all that navigation really hasn't changed. I think we need to be able to see horizontal home screens on our devices, so we can hold our phones horizontally, obviously, and it'll rotate and our home screen icons will change. But we also need to be able to customize those home screens. We need to be able to theme it if we want to. We should be able to put backgrounds, of course, there if we want to. And this is all available on broken devices, and I think it's a shame that standard Apple firmware doesn't have it, especially because Apple could really make this a money-making, thing. They certify it so they know it's not going to, bog down your computer or your operating system or phone rather. But they can actually sell it in the App Store. They can make, developers, graphic designers really have another foothold in here, because even though you could, there's a way for you to generate this yourself and build it yourself. But if you want to get pre-made templates and all that jazz, you can just download it right from iTunes. There's a lot of support, again, in the jailbroken community for this, and there's a lot of great free options. And I can only imagine, if there was an official support, how great and unique we could customize our devices. I also think that we need better notification management. The fact is, when I get a text message, if I'm doing something else, I either close it and then there's no notification and I won't remember sometimes, or I can reply to it and then my application closes, I go into SMS and I do that. That is not acceptable. Maybe they can keep the notification, but if you close it, it stays in your top status bar. So you'll see a little email icon, and this, again, is on my jailbroken device. If I get a new text message and I don't respond to it, if I press close, it won't show up in that bar because that's just Apple notification. But if I ignore it and somehow evade, answering that question, it'll stay up there and then it'll remind me to check it. Same thing with email, and missed calls as well, and I think that's a great thing and they should definitely implement that. As well as, I think it would be pretty cool if just using that status bar, you could swipe and get some different controls. Again, this is on a jailbroken device, I have a similar feature. So maybe I can swipe and easily adjust the brightness, or swipe and easily open a preview of emails, or whatever it is. Maybe you can customize it. I think they really need to take better care of the status bar and allow you to do what you want with it, as well as the lock screen and home screens. Another thing I think they need is wireless syncing via Bluetooth. Other products have this, and I think it's just really a shame that I have to plug in via USB to update with 5 or 10 new songs that I've purchased. It's just kind of a hassle and it's not really worth it, so if they could sync over Bluetooth, that'd be really easy and nice. I also think they need to improve their video editing. The 3GS implemented, obviously, video recording, but also some simple video editing where you could crop the ends. I think if you really want this to be interesting, maybe you could combine 2 video clips or cut a video clip in half and save one clip as something else and the first clip as something different. Also, if you could add titles and basic transitions, you could basically have a multimedia powerhouse right on your phone. And what would be even cooler is if somehow you could connect it to a laptop or a desktop and just something would pop up in iTunes that say, would you like to render your projects? And then using the power of your home machine, you could render it if you wanted to. So you could render on the device, but for faster encoding, you could do it right from your computer just by plugging it in. And I mean, that's obviously possible. I've seen different implementations of it, but it's just something that nobody has tried before, and if Apple did it, they would revolutionize the market. I also think this is a feature I would really like: screencasting on your device. When I make video reviews for iPhone applications, it's a hassle. The camera with the angles and lighting is really a pain, and Apple obviously has a good internal method of doing this, because at their conferences and events, you get a crystal clear display on the projector or wherever the case may be of what's going on. And I think that would be a really great feature to have for iPhone reviewers such as myself. But here's the meat of what needs to be in iPhone OS 4.0, and it's ridiculous that it has waited this far to get in. In-browser flash support. Now, we have a YouTube application, and that sort of works for certain things, but sometimes you want to just watch the video inline. And I've used lower quality devices, or even equally quality devices that have flash, and the implementations are pretty good. But again, not all flash is YouTube. So I'm not saying you're going to go to addicting games and be able to play on your iPhone, even though that would be pretty cool to do. But I'm saying, what about Vimeo and Vidler and these different video options? There's a YouTube option, but what if there's content on those other flash players that you want to use? Or even a proprietary one for your favorite news blog. It's just something that in-browser flash support is necessary for, but Apple currently doesn't support it. And it's just a shame. Why can't they support Flash? Even Adobe has come out and said, we would help Apple with Flash for the iPhone, and they haven't done it yet. And it's just mind-boggling why they haven't. And finally, we need multitasking. Push notifications is one thing, but we need to be able to run multiple applications at the same time. I can easily do that on Symbian S60. I don't really like the Symbian S60 user interface, but I could easily multitask. I could easily listen to music and browse the internet and anything else I would want and play a different application. And I just think it's a shame that the power of iPhones and the power of the operating system don't support multitasking. But I don't think they could just supply multitasking. I think the time has come for them to totally change everything. Similar to Expose on the Mac, I think you'd have to be able to have a nice swipe gesture. These are multi-touch devices, and you could quickly and easily open up all the applications in a grid view, I suppose, or something, and you could see all the applications you have open. You could easily close one if it's using too many resources right from there, or just quickly, let's say you're in your browser, quickly open this iPhone Expose, and then click on Mute iPod, and you're right where you left off in iPod. Then quickly go back to Expose, pop back into a game you were playing, and you're right at the same spot. There's a lot that they can do and take hints from their Macintosh design team, and I think it's just time that iPhone operating system got these features. Again, some of these things like customization, in-browser flash support, multitasking, they're on other devices. And even though Apple should take it the next step, just giving us the bare feature that we're really requesting is, a necessity. It took them 3 iterations of the device to supply a comparable camera with video recording. Right now, if you're on a 3GS or original iPhone, you can't video record unless you're jailbroken. So if I have to buy a new phone just to keep up this Apple trend, fine, I'll buy a new phone. But I want multitasking, I want in-browser flash support, I want to be able to customize my device and use it to the fullest of its power. We have these phones. Right now the 3GS I believe is 800 megahertz, but we really can't take advantage of it because Apple keeps it in a crippled environment just so everything runs fast and smooth. I'm not saying that adding multitasking would make the experience any less usable. I know Apple can do it, and I hope they're up to the challenge, because without these new features in iPhone OS 4.0, Apple's platform has really taken a step back and is really being surpassed by Android 2.1, or whatever the next incarnation is, and webOS in particular. So I'm Michael Sherlock from michaelsherlock.com. Please leave me a video response or text comment below with what you think. Do you think these features are necessary? Do you think Apple will include them? Or do you think there's a totally new and brilliant feature that you think should be in the next iteration but I haven't mentioned and people aren't talking about? Leave me that information below. So enjoy your mobile phones today and look over the horizon to see a brighter mobile future tomorrow. Have a good day.